The Apple Vision Pro is one of the most incredible devices I've ever used, and I mean it. And I've tried a lot of headsets, from the Oculus Rift to the Quest 1 to 3, the Quest Pro, as well as the PSVR 1 and 2. And what makes the Vision Pro so special for me is its super sharp display and also its low latency, which finally let me stream my Mac screen and do some actual work inside of AR/VR. But it's got two major downsides. Number one, it's very pricey at $3,500, and number two, it's also very heavy. However, I've got some good news. The Apple Vision Pro 2 is rumored to launch either in late 2025 or early 2026, and it's set to fix both of these issues whilst also adding a couple of new features. So if you're as excited as I am, here are the top 9 changes coming to the Vision Pro 2. Number 1, a lower price. This is something that we've heard rumor for quite some time, and it's pretty much a no-brainer. At a starting price of $3,500, the Apple Vision Pro is out of most people's reach. And even if you can't afford to spend $3,500 on an Apple Vision Pro, that money would simply be way better spent on a high-end MacBook Pro, or on 2 studio displays instead. Well, the Apple Vision Pro 2 is rumored to be getting cheaper. However, don't expect anything like $1,000 or so. In fact, most reports are pointing towards a reduction to around $3,000, which is really not that much. Also, we don't really know how much these recent tariffs would impact the final price. But okay, let's say that it is getting cheaper to $3,000. I think what most people don't realize is that even though this looks like a very minor price reduction, when Apple introduces the Vision Pro, they would also start selling the first generation refurbished at a much lower price, probably at around $2,500, which would make it a far more enticing option. And not even to mention the eBay prices, which for the first generation they have already dropped to around $2,200. Well, once the second version launches, you'll be able to buy a pre-owned first gen for probably around $1,500 or so, which would be an absolutely incredible deal. But if you do want to get a brand new Vision Pro and you think that $3,000 for the second version is still way too much, well, I've got some good news for you. As according to Mark Gurman, Apple is working on another version of the Vision Pro that will be able to plug in directly into your Mac in order to stream its display at an ultra low latency. Something required for use cases like flight sims or viewing imaging during surgery or other high-end enterprise applications. And I think that this is a brilliant idea. You see, my main use case with the Vision Pro is using that virtual Mac screen, which after the Vision OS 2.0 update, it's just been incredible, as you can now have this gigantic ultra-wide screen at a 5K resolution and 0 perceived latency for me, all whilst being streamed wirelessly from my Mac. In fact, it's been so good that I often take my Vision Pro with me when I travel, to use it as a virtual display with my MacBook Air, as it's close to the equivalent of having 2 studio displays next to each other that you can also fit in your bag, so to say. And I said this in quite a few of our previous videos, that Apple should 100% sell a lower-end version of the Vision Pro that simply just plugs into your Mac and lets you stream your display. Like, it doesn't need to have any other functionality than this, really. And this could also significantly lower its price, as you wouldn't need to have an M2 chip inside, you also wouldn't need to have all of those tracking cameras, just the pass-through ones, or maybe not even those. And you definitely wouldn't need an eyesight display on the front, just a Thunderbolt 5 connection that plugs into your Mac, which would then fully power this, let's call it, Vision display. And honestly, if they price this Apple Vision display, I do think that's a pretty good name, at $1,500, that would already be a much better deal than buying a studio display for roughly the same price, as you do get much more screen real estate, and it's also portable, unlike the studio display. However, I should mention that based on what Mark Gurman is saying, this seems to be a special version of the Vision Pro 2 instead, with a Thunderbolt 5 port rather than a lower-end version necessarily. Although, I do still stand by the fact that Apple should definitely make a plug-and-play version of the Vision Pro for around $1,500, as I do think that those could sell very, very well. Now, the third change coming to the Vision Pro 2 is rumored to be an updated design, specifically one that makes the device lighter, according to Mark Gurman. We don't really know what specific design changes Apple will be making here, but my guess is that they would be replacing this aluminum chassis, which is really the heaviest part of the Vision Pro 1, with a lighter material. Either magnesium if they want to keep it extra light, but also, be made out of metal, or plastic if they want to go super light. Personally, I would guess magnesium, or even some sort of a custom alloy to really bring the weight down while keeping the device looking premium. And whilst Apple could also remove the eyesight functionality entirely to decrease the weight further and also lower the cost, that does not seem to be going away, at least not based on the latest reports. Probably because that's what makes the Vision Pro stand out from the competition, especially now with Samsung and Vivo announcing very similarly designed headsets, just without the eyesight functionality, of course. And with this new lighter design, I also expect to see some new colors. I think a space black would make a lot of sense, as this is a Pro device. And some of Apple's Pro devices, like the MacBook Pro, iPad Pro, and Apple Watch Ultra, they do have a space black variant, which I do think looks stunning. And plus, on the Vision Pro, you already have this gigantic black screen on the front, so a full black body I think would look especially striking. But you know what else looks striking? Our latest packs for app wallpapers. We've already dropped 5 new wallpaper packs in April. So, to kick off spring, we have Blossom Breeze by our own Zara, with its serene landscape pack that looks awesome, especially on tablets. Then, there's also Floating Fields by Alisher, which has this stylized isometric view of floating islands, and these look especially stunning on smartphones. Then, Artsy Arcs by Hunain is a more minimalistic pack which makes your desktops look super clean. And lastly, we've got Little Lifeforms by Cheese, which features a ton of naturalistic items in every single pew. Actually, there's one more. If you want to get into this spring spirit, there's also Easter Eggs by Zara. You can check all of them out, plus hundreds more wallpapers for free, all in 8K, on wallpapers for iOS and Android by simply using the links below. Okay, now back to the video and the colors. According to leaker Kosutami, Apple may be working on an Apple Vision Air with a thinner design and also titanium elements inside to reduce the weight. And also, guess what? A midnight color. Yes, this has been leaked. He also posted a couple of images of the battery connector that shows the color and the fact that it's got 8 pins instead of the current 12 on the Vision Pro. And he also posted some images of the new midnight power connector. And since this may be called the Apple Vision Air, I also expect it to be much more affordable than the current Apple Vision Pro. Now, aside from this, the main other upgrade is said to be the chip, going from the current M2 all the way to the M5, which would provide some serious performance gains. The M4 is already a major leap over the M2, which is what we've seen from our testing, and the M5 is going to be an even bigger upgrade. Now, personally, I haven't really had any performance issues with my Vision Pro, mostly because my main use case, like I've said, has just been streaming my Max display and also occasionally watching content, which are, they're not power-hungry things to do. The M5 could enable us to run more demanding apps and also some exclusive games, as well as possibly some brand new Apple Intelligence features. Apple Intelligence was initially rumored to come to the second gen Apple Vision Pro, although we did actually get it in visionOS 2.4 not that long ago. And to be honest, it's fine, but it doesn't do much. Like, I would love to see some immersive environments generated by Apple Intelligence, which could be something that the M5 chip would allow us to do. Although this is just, my guess and just wishful thinking. So really, the main benefits of the M5 chip would be a better battery life and better external display support. So when it comes to this improved battery life, this is fairly poor on the first gen model. You get about 2 hours under normal use and 2.5 if you are watching video. The problem is quite a few movies are longer than 2.5 hours, and if you also use the internal speakers like I do, you'll be getting less than 2.5 hours for sure. The M5 chip, being way more power efficient than the M2, could boost its battery life to possibly 2 hours and 45 minutes or even 3 hours when watching video, which I would say would be really nice, as then you'll be able to watch pretty much any full-length movie on a single charge. Okay, maybe aside from Lord of the Rings Extended Edition. And the second benefit of the M5 chip may be improved external display support. Right now, you can have this 5K ultra-wide virtual display stream of your Mac screen, which is amazing as it's roughly the size of 2 studio displays next to each other. But it is technically still one external display. The M5 could possibly allow us to have 2 virtual Mac screens, both in 5K, which would be awesome, as then I could have my second screen on top of this first, which would give me a ton of screen real estate to work with. Yeah, that would be a major upgrade for me, so I would definitely love to see this on the Apple Vision Pro 2. Another upgrade is said to be 5G connectivity, something that the Macs are set to be getting as well in the near future, specifically with a 2026 M6 version of the MacBook Pros. However, as the Vision Pro won't be updated each year, we may see this in the second generation. And I gotta say, 5G would indeed be really nice to have. especially when using the Vision Pro on the go, as just like an iPad Pro, you would be able to download TV shows to watch, on a plane or whatever, without a need to hotspot from your phone. And lastly, we may also see some display improvements. And I'm talking about the internal displays. There have been rumors that Apple is working on some new displays that are brighter with improved contrast ratios and also a lower power consumption. And we may also see some updated lenses for a reduced distortion, a wider field of view, and also improved clarity. To me, the display brightness is fine, although I guess they could be a bit brighter. However, the main issue for me is just when it comes to the lenses. They do have a lot of reflections, especially when you're viewing content at night, and the field of view is also very, very poor. So yeah, I do hope that these will be improved with the second version. But yeah, all in all, I'm pretty excited for the Apple Vision Pro 2. I probably won't be upgrading from my Apple Vision Pro 1 unless they had some really good trade-in deals, which, Apple never really do. But for everyone buying a brand new Apple Vision Pro, it looks like the second generation may be a bigger upgrade than we had originally thought. So yeah, let me know, what do you guys think? Check out our app wallpapers for some awesome designs. I'm Daniel, this has been Zone of Tech, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Zone of Tech, signing out. Cheers.